Bienvenue à les Affaires Brassicoles, votre balado sur l'entrepreneuriat brassicole du Québec, avec Leonardo Calcagno de Baron Mac.
Bonjour tout le monde, ici Leonardo Calcagno des Affaires Brassicoles. J'espère que vous allez bien et comme moi, vous êtes content qu'il y ait de la pluie, de la chaleur, tout ça. Et bien sûr qu'il y a, qu'il y a les festivals qui commencent à sortir tranquillement, beaucoup de boissons qui ont nos bureaux. On est bien content de tout ce qui se passe. Écoutez, on a bien hâte d'aller vous visiter cet été à travers le Québec et un peu l'Ontario pour les festivals. Si vous avez des questions, vous voulez nous inviter, envoyez-moi un courriel à leonardo@barmac.com. Ce podcast est commandité par PivotHub. Vous savez, c'est notre partenaire de contenu avec qui on travaille pour du contenu concernant l'alimentation, le data, la boisson, tout ça. Allez sur pivohub.com pour vous aider dans vos ventes au quotidien. Aujourd'hui, on parle avec la gang de Cocktail En Fût. C'est une compagnie que j'ai découverte sur Internet qui font un service intéressant, qui font du cocktail en fût. Ils ont des fûts, ils font du cocktail, un beau mix à de ça. Puis de plus en plus, depuis le peu de temps qu'ils ont commencé, la compagnie a vraiment grossi. Puis je vois beaucoup de plus en plus des compagnies qui les appellent pour travailler avec eux autres. On voulait connaître un petit peu le business. Comme vous savez, tout ce qui est rapport avec les cocktails, c'est de plus en plus en expansion. Souvent, quand on va parler avec des microbrasseries ou les compagnies de boissons, souvent, ça va être comme 30 à 45 de leur business maintenant. Puis on trouvait que les cocktails en fût étaient intéressants de la mise en place de tout ça, de comment ces compagnies peuvent vous aider. Puis bien sûr, le propriétaire Brendan Baxter, avec qui on va parler, il va nous donner un petit peu les tendances qui s'en viennent, d'où ce qui est le nom de la compagnie, d'où ce qui vient de la compagnie. Et bien sûr, qu'est-ce qu'il y a dans le futur. Puis bien sûr, c'est une très bonne idée de business. L'entrevue est en anglais. Si vous avez des questions pour Brendan Baxter, on va mettre comment on appelle ça, les liens à la fin. Puis si vous avez des courriels pour nous autres, écoutez, leonardo@baronmac.com. Puis bien sûr, envoyez-nous un courriel, puis abonnez-vous à Baron Pro. How are you, Brendan Baxter? How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Leonardo.
Thank you. Hey, thank you very much for your time. I know you're a busy man. Since last time we spoke, you talked to me, you told me about everything that's going on. So congrats in the first of all. And I was wondering, can you give me pretty much, your origin, about the Cocktail En Fût? Where does it come from? How do you see the market? And what was the beginning of the company?
Yeah, thanks. Well, Cocktail En Fût was basically I guess a pivot project from the pandemic, as many projects have been over the last few years. It's also a culmination of 15 years of my background in hospitality. Myself and my partner worked in bars, restaurants, nightlife, and then also I got into events back in 2014 or 2011 through 2014, and leading right up to the pandemic, I had a bar service company.
Mm-hmm.
So cocktails were always at the forefront of the events that I did and the service that I offered, whether it be in hospitality or events. And I guess Cocktail En Fût is the brainchild of the process of learning how to offer that type of a service in high volume capacity. Yeah, I think it's just a timing was really right for us. We've noticed over the course of the last 5 to 10 years a big trend in cocktail culture and cocktail consumption. And then honestly, as of late, we've also seen the big uptrend in mocktail culture as well. So, we noticed that in the high volume capacity environments of, say, sporting events, stadiums, arenas, festivals, and events, this was an area that needed to be improved on. You typically see these types of environments offering canned beverages, but the cocktail experience and the mocktail experience were kind of hit or miss, if you will. It was hard to be able to count on something. So yeah, Cocktail En Fût is basically a business model that kind of created out of necessity, and is a hybrid of some experience from both myself and my partner collectively in working in the industry.
Excellent. So how does it work? Because remember last time you told me you were at the Boreal, Boreal for the events out there, the soccer events, or football events, and so how does it work? I mean, do you prepare? You already have your all the cocktails ready already, or people ask you for cocktail? How does it work?
Yeah, so I mean, to back up a little bit, the business model is very interesting because we do have a landscape here in Quebec with some legalities that we have to be aware of, that we actually became aware of quite early on in the project. So because we have certain restrictions on how long we can batch with alcohol, there's a limit of 24 hours that we can do this. So that we need to basically batch with alcohol and then pass the product in the same day. That was a bit of a barrier for us in terms of scalability, because initially the project launched where we had our set recipes. We would show up on site at our client's festival or event, and we would mix with alcohol on site. It wasn't really scalable. It wasn't something that we could kind of like see taking across Quebec, as it requires a lot of manipulation. So in terms of a business model, we had to rethink it a little bit. And then we also started noticing at the exact same time, this really big uptrend in non-alcoholic culture, mocktail culture. And we kind of saw an opportunity there where we're like, well, if we can manage the heavy lifting with the pre-batching of all the ingredients in our facility, with the exception of the alcohol, we thought about creating a bit of a universal universal non-alcoholic cocktail and mixer that we thought would lend well to these large-scale environments. So essentially, when we work with clients, we have our own in-house signature recipes that follow basically your consumer trends, your contemporary cocktails, your margaritas, your palomas, punches. We have a cold brew that we use as a twist on a cold brew martini. Nice. We use various twists on Moscow mules and so on. So our typical cocktails are basically going to comprise anywhere from 3 to 6 or 7 ingredients, pre-batched, and we're using contemporary cocktail builds, if you will, recipes, and just tweaking them with various with different unique flavors that are trending. And we basically also specialize in the mobile equipment. So in terms of who we cater to, as I mentioned earlier, stadiums, arenas, show venues, those are our physical venues. And then our events and festivals or our seasonal venues would be our mobile venues that we take care of. And when you work with Cocktail En Fût, we basically do a quick evaluation. We establish what equipment needs you're going to need, whether it's a permanent install or mobile. And then we consult with you on our in-house signature recipes. Typically, our clients go with those simply because we can offer the best pricing. And at the end of the day, we've been doing this long enough to understand what consumers like and to follow the trends, and to also be a little push the boundaries with some ingredients and have some fun with it. And then additionally, we also work with partners or partnerships and create recipes for either venues or in collaboration with alcohol companies and brands, depending on the vision. So yeah, I guess at the end of the day, it's a kind of like an all in-house turnkey solution where we set you up with the equipment, we choose the recipe avenue, and then we either install, deliver, and take down, or it's a continuous replenishment of reordering on a weekly or bi-weekly basis.
The good thing about your company, because we talked to a lot of people before we did interview with you. We talked to a lot of our clients and readers, and what they like about your stuff, like restaurants and tap rooms, stuff like that, is the idea that they don't have to think about it. You just have to plug it in and just put it in. Yeah. And there's more and more like cocktails, like handmade cocktails, stuff like that. And then I think there's a huge market for something like yours, like you said, you just go there and make your products like that. Mm-hmm. Are you pushing more into the arena of events, or more into the restaurants and stuff like that? What's your
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, in a nutshell, over the course of 5 years, we've catered to everyone, and then we've really started to refine and distill down who we best serve. And at the end of the day, there's a use case for cocktails on tap in any environment. And we're definitely not there to replace a craft cocktail experience where you go to see a specific bartender, or going for a cocktail experience where you're sitting down and you're enjoying the full capacity. What we're really doing is focusing on those high volume, high capacity venues that really want to elevate the consumer experience while not sacrificing on speed, efficiency, quality, And then most importantly, they want to get people served fast, quickly, right? So in these types of environments, you want to spend more time enjoying the reason you're there, the show, the event, creating moments. And typically up until the last few years ago, the standard model was a subpar cocktail experience that would perhaps not be super consistent, and you'd wait a long time in lineups. So we're just providing a solution that speaks to those types of those clients in particular, or those vendors. And then our target is to just kind of or our goal here is just to provide the tools that enable them to offer those types of experiences.
But I think is this also you guys, because with the shortness, there's no more staff anymore. It's hard to get. And I think a fast cocktail like yours, like mocktails, stuff like that. I think I know a lot of people that do cocktails. They don't like doing mocktails, man. They hate doing it. If there are some guys like you doing it in advancement, you guys are saving hours of job for that. They don't want to do that. So tell me, how does it work with you guys? I mean, from the beginning to the end. I mean, how do you go when you go to an event like Boreal? The last time you guys were there for that soccer match, how does it work with you guys from A to Z? Do you propose in the beginning, let's do a drink, let's do how much mobile? Because I think mobile is the biggest market for you right now, mobile more than restaurants. So how does it work from A to Z?
Yeah, of course. I mean, just to bring some clarity there, we're not currently offering a full program for the hospitality sector per se. We are focused more on those high volume, high capacity venues. However, that might change in the near future. We are working on some distribution opportunities where we could bring our product to the hospitality at large sector. Once we have those solutions set up, that'll be available on our website for more information. But how we work basically is we work in a partnership mentality with all of our clients, where from the onboarding process, it's simply to evaluate your current menu, your current offering, and we basically propose a beverage program. So it's either a one or two recipes that are super versatile that you can make a couple different options from each tap to bolster an existing menu that you currently have. So say, for example, you've got a list of some core craft cocktails, but you want a few recipes that are really quick. That's one avenue. But I would say the vast majority of our focus is really on venues that are looking to level up their beverage or their cocktail program, if you will, cocktail and mocktail program. And what we'll do is we'll consult and we will propose anywhere from 2 to 4 to 6 recipes that creates the cocktail menu. So basically, operators get a beverage program that is turnkey, where they're basically set up with the equipment, they've set up with the recipes, they're consulted on how to use each of our Cocktail En Fût products. And then basically they're just ordering on a weekly or a bi-weekly basis. So their bartenders simply have a 1-step mocktail to make or a 2-step cocktail.
Okay.
Yeah. So and our kegs work with the existing beer infrastructure model, if you will. We're not reinventing the wheel when it comes to equipment. It works on all draft beer equipment. So we're typically installing with it's either we're coming in and we're installing a kegerator. We're installing draft lines to a cooler, to a walk-in fridge. And then the priority is always to evaluate what equipment or infrastructure you already have on site. So as long as the vendor owns the equipment, we can clean the lines and tap our equipment to it, our kegs to it. And one of our other super easy solutions is any existing bar fridge that's already integrated into your bar. We can typically put a tower on it, and one fridge door can house anywhere from 1 to 4 kegs. So
Wow.
yeah, so we're operating with 20-liter Sankey keg format, Sankey couplers. We're lucky to work with North Keg. They've been super supportive since day one, really kind of helping us streamline that keg process and that keg supply. And yeah, because we're working on a traditional beer keg, it's equipment that most people are used to using. So I think that makes it quite easy for the operators.
So how does it work? Your partners with North and Keg. How does it work? Did they pick up the kegs, or you're the guys taking care? How does it work since the beginning?
We're currently in a model where we have a rent to own model where
Okay.
we're responsible for the kegs currently. We are distributing to venues in between Montreal and Quebec City right now. So we do have a fairly decent footprint in the Quebec market. We are self-distributed, and we do take care of the keg pickups and the maintenance. But we are going to be evaluating other ways that North Keg can support us as we expand across Canada and we start looking into to different demographics.
Yeah, because they have their own system of pickup everywhere of that. And
Yeah.
as you know, North and Keg just got bought by a company in the UK with a 30,000, I think, bar, stuff like that. It's
Yep.
something that you guys are interesting to expand across. I mean, across Canada slowly, but across the world with this Cocktail En Fût.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think we've just landed on a solution that is kind of, I guess how the best way that I can describe it is we bridge the gap between everybody involved, the needs of everyone involved. You have your operator, you'll have your alcohol partner, and then you have your consumer, your everyday person who goes to these venues. And at the end of the day, everybody has their own interests while this event is happening, right? Operators want to be offering something that is quick, that is fast, and ideally that consumers appreciate. Alcohol partners are looking for a consistent, standardized experience where they know that their product is going to be well represented and is repeatable. And then from a consumer standpoint, we want to go to an event where we're not spending, half the time in the lineups, paying for overpriced drinks that aren't something that's going to leave a memorable experience for us. We want to, go have a great cocktail beverage experience while we're enjoying the show. And I think that's what we're really responding to here. We are a company that simply, wants to be of service. I've been an operator before. I am a consumer. I do go to events. I've uniquely been placed in this position where I've worked with alcohol partners as well as operators and have been the operator, and I understand the pain points. So it's not as simple as just scaling a really great craft cocktail that's built a la minute into these large scale environments. And I think we've just kind of figured out through lending, the inspiration from the beer industry and the cocktail industry, combining and fusing both worlds and leveraging an existing system that works to offer a quality experience at scale. And I think we do that pretty well. So to answer your question, yeah, I would love to take this across Canada, the US, and even into to Europe, wherever the demand is. I think this universal keg solution
Everywhere, man. So it's all good, man.
for sure. I think there's definitely a solid case for this universal mocktail mixer concept, where from the same tap you can serve both demographics, and then if the recipes are built smartly as is our intention, you can interchange spirits just to make different types of cocktails. So our Paloma mix can be mixed with tequila to make a Paloma, or it can be mixed with vodka for a Greyhound. Our peach mule, peach ginger lime carbonated, easily is a mule with vodka, and then switched over to a dark and stormy with dark rum. So we've got some very versatility in our recipes, and I think there's a lot to offer.
One of the questions one of our readers asked me is the the cost of ratio of cost. Is it because for sure you guys are helping people without you don't have to have another bartender, another cocktail guy or girl doing stuff like that. How much money do you save, and how much money does it cost if let's say if you have somebody working 100% there and you guys? How much was the ratio of winning here for a bar, for an event?
That's a very good question. I mean, it really comes down to the specific operator, typically you can see anywhere from a 2 to a 5 to even a 10% spillage rate in certain environments, right? So it all depends on the nature of what you're doing. So if we think about it just more in let's think about it in shelf life for the first kind of little evaluation. If you're fresh pressing citrus juice, you've got maybe 5 to 7 days in a fridge. If you're depending on the ingredients in a syrup or an artisanal syrup that you're going to make, maybe you've got double that. And then at the end of the day, you're also kind of leaving margin for error as well, because
Yeah.
if as soon as you're mixing à la minute in one spot, a bartender can make a mistake, and then that whole drink is kind of is out the door, and then you're also opening yourself up to inconsistencies between bartenders. So, I mean, you definitely are extending shelf life with our product because you're eliminating a lot of the human error, and two, the shelf life issues. And then when it comes to kind of labor, I mean, we're reducing that hour or two of prep, or maybe even more, depending on how extensive your program is. And then we're also kind of incorporating things that would usually, like when we're talking about herbs and various things that are utilized in these cocktails, those are already integrated into our cocktails. So our mixes, for example, we've got a strawberry smash, strawberry, basil, lemon, carbonated. You don't have to bring in any fresh produce for this. You can literally just serve a dehydrated garnish, and you've really, got quite a sustainable cocktail program with that one beverage. And then, mojito is a big fan favorite in Quebec. It's one of our coup de cars as well. It's a simple recipe to make, but not always super easy to achieve in a keg. And we've got a great mojito, lime, mint, carbonated, a little bit of cane sugar. And, we've got a recipe where the mint is really present and it pops on the nose and also on the palate. So that alleviates your need to have that fresh product in house.
Excellent. What kind of trend do you see right now? Because the great thing about you go to events, you go to everywhere. We see that people are not drinking beer as much as more. People are drinking more and more cocktails. What do you see? What's the trend that you see right now on non-alcoholic and normal cocktails right now? When you go to, let's say, bars versus events.
Mm. Oh, good
In
question.
sales wise, I mean, you can see
Yeah,
people drinking more non-alcoholic stuff like that, because we see cans, RTDs growing with non-alcohol growing a lot.
yeah,
You see
yeah.
more and more people drinking less alcohol, but with less alcohol on it. What kind of trend do you see right
Well, that's I could give quite a different perspective on it. I mean, look, as an operator, circa back to my days at Mural Festival when I was the operator, and we had 50% of our sales or more would be beer,
I remember,
canned
yeah.
beer. Yeah, like that was traditionally beer was one of our biggest sellers. Cocktails were always something that was appreciated. However, it really didn't take off until we fixed the distribution model. So once I launched Cocktail En Fût, I saw a quick change where all of a sudden I went from maybe 10% of cocktails all the way up to, I think it was 31% of my sales that year were cocktails. So that was a huge indicator that there was a demand there. It just wasn't being responded to with the appropriate product and the appropriate solution, right? So I definitely see, as we all see, a trend in cocktails and mocktails. I can also say that mocktails were maybe 1%, maybe 0.5% of our overall sales, and now depending on the event, we can see our product being used in mocktail format anywhere between 5 to 8%, and in certain cases it can get up to 15, depending on the market. So it sounds like small numbers, but from where it started to where it is now, there's a huge trend. I could speak more to those types of changes rather than say the bar culture per se. I do know that an overall trend that I'm recognizing is consumers are looking for experiences, and they're ready to pay for experiences. So what that means, and like I can distill that down a little bit, it seems like consumers are less open to just the excess at a subpar level. They're looking to experience something when they go somewhere. They're looking for a little bit more value for their dollars. And what that can be, it could be a unique cocktail experience that comes in some sort of a branded cup, some sort of a novelty item. That's something that I see trending quite a bit right now.
Okay.
If we want to look at the US Open, there's a cocktail that they'd launched.
The Melon Dew, yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah, exactly, the Melon Deuce. A $20 or $25 cocktail.
I tried that one. It's a crazy drink, man. It's a crazy drink, man.
I mean, at the end of the day, these are recipes that are they go down easy, they taste good, they're served in a larger format, they're served in a branded cup, it's part of the experience, whereas you might have seen people kind of like a little hesitant towards, say, pricier cocktails in the past. If it's packaged in an experience, it seems to be an easy sell, and what that means is people are looking for those experiences. So, you know, bringing it back to kind of like Cocktail En Fût and our origin story. I mean, we're here to be able to support those types of initiatives where we're coming in and we're streamlining that process, making it easy. And you know, the Melon Deuce was a great reference, as it was a cocktail that was put on tap and it was made super easy. You know, and at the end of the day, we're talking about, you know, a lemonade on ice, or sorry, a Grey Goose lemonade on ice with a Chambord float. You know, those are, you know, it was a great experience for the consumer, and I think it's trended now over several years, and they've now started to can those products and make them available in RTDs. So
yeah, it's true. It's true. It's a great drink, and I know people told me about the drink, and I got numbers out of them, like 20,000 to 40,000. Like, I call this a drink, sold in a day.
oh yeah, I think they're grossing something over, if I'm not mistaken, it's over 17 million. I think maybe even in 1 year. But like, don't quote me on that. It's something.
No, but what I read is like,
Yeah.
people are going like 40,000. I call this drinks a day.
Yeah.
And people are going to see I call this tennis.
Yeah.
They don't care. They just want to get drunk with that. That's what I heard about it. So I know it's
sure.
for people that want to use there's a lot of people right now with festivals like that. Of course, the good thing about you is that you can get them numbers of sales right now. Okay? But later on, what can you bring to the client besides, you know, sales numbers and you know, the you know, like to go easy on sale, help them out, stuff like that. What's next for your company besides the one you can send your cocktails, non-alcoholic cocktails, across Canada or the world? What else is coming for your business?
Well, I mean, right now we're definitely focused on our mission, and our mission is to, you know, to support these massive environments, you know, where our goal is to bring our cocktails and our solution to the biggest crowds, you know, and reaching the biggest crowds, because we're very adamant about the fact that those are the areas that need the help the most, and I think we're best positioned for that. Now we have started working with collaborators and other alcohol companies to expand in the experience side of things, and I think that's what we're going to start to see. We had an excellent pilot last year with Tennis Canada, one of our reoccurring clients and partnerships. We had launched a strawberry smash with them last year, and that was super well received. And anyway, without getting into too much of the numbers, it's a perfect example of the partnerships that we can offer, whether it's simply with an operator or also with another brand, in order to kind of create those experiences. So I think what you'll see in the near future is an expansion into those experience oriented, where we'll, you know, be able to collaborate, create like an official cocktail for specific venues, maybe specific events. I think we're going to see some creativity on that side of things, and then I think we're going to continue to support these clients and these partners of ours by expanding on those experiences. So whether that's you know, creating you know, translating that on tap beverage into a mini keg or into a canned RTD that they can now, you know, continue to have that experience at home. I think that's something to look forward in the future.
Are you working with brands, or brands are calling you? How does it work? People calling you, or you're calling them?
It's well, it's a bit of both. I mean, what ends up typically happening is we work most directly with the operators, as like our solution speaks to, you know, really what their core needs are. And what typically happens are the brands are involved and they come in as partners, and then they become aware of Cocktail En Fût and what we can provide by you know, being that supplier that's brought into the conversation from the venue. That was typically our model from day one, and now we're starting to work more and more with the brands directly. And because what ends up happening is there's a timeline to everything, right? And there's needs that happen everyone has their own vision and their own needs. So when it comes to kind of recipe development, the more we can do in advance, the better. So we have a couple conversations that are happening right now to develop the recipes in advance, so that, for example, on a brand level, when you launch your brand direction for your recipes for the year, we can therefore develop those in keg format in advance, so that whenever those partners are embarking on these large scale investment partnerships with these venues and festivals, they already have their recipes dialed in with us. And everyone saves on time, and there's no doubt in anyone's mind. We're just ready to kind of be of service and really dial in the mandate.
Okay. Last question I got from a reader. Are you guys looking for investment to grow, or something right now you guys you're good for now?
Look, I mean, we're always open to evaluating opportunities. We started from the beginning with a customer funded model, very grassroots, and we have some very good partners right now. We work with Farm Credit Canada, and we've got some decent financing from some local organizations that's really helped us scale. But if the right opportunity came around with the right people that are looking to support in the right way, we would totally explore that. I mean, full transparency, we're looking to scale our business, but we're looking to do it in the right way with the right people. And for us, that's just, we are very people.
Very people. That's a great.
Yeah. We're people. And at the end of the day, like, we're building a business to be of service. And that comes with, a vision, and it comes with values. And for us, we're going to lead the business that way.
Excellent. Well, Brendan, thank you very much for your time. It's a great business, man. Like I told you, I was talking to a couple of bars like that, and they were like, somebody had to do it, and you did it, man. And it's amazing, because I know there's a huge, big market for people looking to promote cocktails. And as we see, like I was telling you in the beginning of the podcast, we know bars and breweries, stuff like that. It's like 35 to 55% of their business sales now, it's cocktails. It's not beer anymore. I've seen it, man. I've seen numbers. So you guys are in a great market. And then if somebody wants to get in contact with you, we're gonna leave some, of course, your email, stuff like that. What is the best place to get in contact with you if you want for a festival or something else?
Yeah, of course. Feel free to reach out direct. You can get us at info@cocktailenfût.com. And if you want to get in direct contact personally, reach out to Leonardo, and I'm sure he doesn't mind being the filter.
Doesn't matter, man. Well, thank you very much, Brendan, and I hope you have a great summer. The summer just beginning.
Yeah, likewise. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thanks, man.
All right.
Merci beaucoup à tout le monde d'écouter les Affaires Brassicoles. Comme vous le voyez, Cocktail En Fût, c'est une nouvelle solution pour les compagnies qui cherchent des cocktails, mocktails ou cocktails alcoolisés. Si vous avez des questions, à contacter Brendan, bien sûr, on laissera l'information. Contactez-moi à leonardo@baronmark.com. Puis bien sûr, si vous êtes dans notre business, que vous voulez parler de votre nouvelle solution pour les compagnies, comme Cocktail En Fût, contactez-moi, c'est la meilleure façon. Abonnez-vous bien sûr à InfoPro, parce que vous avez l'analyse quotidienne de tout ce qui se passe dans la business. Puis bien sûr, ce podcast est commandité par PivotHub. PivotHub, c'est notre partenaire de contenu, alimentation et de la boisson. Si vous avez des questions pour PivotHub, allez sur pivothub.com pour plus d'informations. Merci beaucoup et à la prochaine.